Good evening, free enterprise, and welcome to the 6th iteration of the Marquee Community Tournament, Highway to the Zemus Zone. My name is Inven. Tonight with me in the booth is Alicel. Allie, how are you tonight?
I am doing great. Happy to be here. Happy to be here on this first night of the tournament.
Oh yeah, first restreamed match, and what's on the plate? Who are we looking at tonight?
We are looking at DekarSMASH versus BluesEclipse with what looks to be an edge hero.
Ooh, fast anchor all the way start to finish, and can be kind of tricky to find weapons for on this lag set, so we'll see how our runners make do with them. Now, in the race room, these two runners elected to go ahead and skip a bit down the road to something that's mandatory later on, and actually adjusted the flags a little bit. How are these changed from the baseline that we saw at the prospectus the other night?
Well, there's several different changes that you can make, all of them with adorably punny names that I love. This one is Mode 7, which requires the Giant of Babel in addition to Cocal Forge.
And this also changes up the rewards available. There's still 8 total objectives. You still have to do 6 of them. But now the Forge will not give you a Supersmith weapon. It won't give you an X-Cal either. What it does do is it puts an X-Cal into the main pool, but Kakol won't hand over anything on his own. And the Giant of Babel change means there's no character at the end of it. So you no longer have regrets if you do your grind, go all the way to the end, and you're like, no, I had all the good things for you. So that's not happening either.
Well, and one funny thing, we do have the where you can have a required fast anchor. Um, they vetoed this, yet still have an edge, which is quite a fast anchor.
Oh yeah, I mean it would have forced it, but I understand runners who don't want to guarantee that. Fast anchors definitely make for some hairy fights in this game when you get down the road to other high agility spots. You're like, I really need a turn versus this Asura or a Zeromus, but hey, they're off. Let's see who Edge's partner in crime is.
I mean, if you're gonna have somebody come with you, an Earth Crystal and a Rosa is gonna be it.
Yeah, that's a beautiful, beautiful start. Very exciting. Hopefully, we get some good ninja weaponry up here in this Troya treasury, and we just chop and slice our way through this overworld. While they're loading in, normally there would be 7 random objectives. We have 6 tonight. What are we looking at with these?
We do have Conquer the Vanilla Ribbon Room. That is the room where you originally fight the Dragon Lunars, those big scary dragons. You have Launch the Falcon. That means you do have to go through that hook route, defeat both the king and the queen at the Town of Monsters, cure the fever with the Sand Ruby, and conquer the Vanilla Crystal Sword altar. That is the Wyvern altar.
Gotcha, gotcha. So 3 gated by darkness, 2 gated by underground, and the other 3 we'll have to wait and see. Heading
But
into
both,
this treasury, neck and neck. Go ahead.
yeah, both our runners heading straight to the Earth Crystal Treasury, hoping to find some good gear. There's a ninja sword. There's a Leviathan. There's a dart. Ooh, this is the best treasury I've seen in a hot minute.
Yeah, got some goodies there. The Ninja Blade definitely shines here at the start. It's going to let Edge start getting to work carving up the early game enemies. Sork Robe's lovely for Rosa. It's a piece of gear you can leave on her all the way through the game. Let's see, there was also a Samurai helmet and a Strength Ring, so Edge is going to be pretty well armored and dishing out that damage. Oh, even a ninja shirt in the public treasury. Dekar getting a little extra loot for that ninja here.
Well, and finding some great gear if we do happen to find, say, a Cecil or either one of the Black Mages. Did see a Leviathan summon for that Rydia. That's your sweeper if you can find her.
Yep. Got a lightsaber there for if Cecil ends up showing up and you don't mind going through the 3 fights at Ordeals to convert him to Paladinship. So yeah, very powerful start. They're going to be up and running here very, very quickly. But you got a little shopping to do. Toria's got all the shops. You might as well peek them while you're here.
Well, and finding those early silk webs with a fast anchor like this edge, silk webs are going to be invaluable.
Oh yeah. And we see Blues buying a stack of 5. Dakar has a little more inventory to sort through thanks to that public treasury. I wonder how many he's going to pick up.
Well, and looks like Blues is going to go ahead do a little bit more looting here in the Damsian treasury. This is a nice, what is it, 9 items, 10 items?
It's 9 in the basement and another 3 right here, so it's 12, plus the one upstairs if you want to. It's very dense, and I find that the min-tier flag means that you're likely going to find 2 or 3 useful things here as well, and if not, you're at least going to have something that you can sell for the cash.
Well, finding a silent staff for that Rosa, that is fabulous. Silent staff, best staff, in my opinion.
Yeah, not quite as much willpower boost as the life staff, but it's very satisfying because it will give you quad damage versus mages, and you may not want to have to bonk them to death with the staff, but when you need it, you're happy to have it.
But Dakar pulling an Aegis Shield out of Antlion. Aegis Shield, definitely agree. And there's a longsword.
Ooh.
What is this loot? Oh my goodness, are we sure this is T-Pro?
I mean, again, that min tier makes such a great difference, and I forget the details. I know that there were some price adjustments to Edge's weapons. I'm not sure if there were any tier adjustments with 4.6, but yeah, the Ninja Blade from the Treasury, the longsword here, Dakar is ready to rock this overworld.
And even that rune ring, that's a great pickup for Rosa, but this is not where you want to see King Queen Evelyn.
Well, you know, Edge is like, Mom, Dad, look what I found. Oh, whoops, it slipped. That was a pretty fast kill.
Yeah, that was a blink and you missed it.
And there's the pass. So there's no longer a concern of, with the 2 objectives in the bottom of the moon, do I want to delay them to where they're number 5 and 6 and I get to walk on down? No. In this situation, you're going to have exit on Rosa because you're likely going to have exit on Rosa because we're going to do Zot with that Earth Crystal at some point. And now you feel very comfy going through the moon because if you have to come back to do your other objectives, you have the pass. You don't have to walk the moon twice.
And I see Blues hitting this wall with a silent staff. I've had bad experiences with that, but we get an Edward. Yeah, Edward is a character that exists in this flag set.
It is kind of funny because the enemy Eddie was fighting is one of the 2 that his niche utility really comes into play for. But Dakar does not care, not even going to fight the wall. Sometimes you want to take a fight here, even for a duplicate or a useless character, just because of the XP. But with this edge, no.
This is going to be a very fast overworld for agility and for just taking out bosses. I suspect we are going to very quickly take on everything, and even a middle blade for BluesEclipse, who I don't think has picked up that long blade yet.
Right. Blues did not go into Antlion Cave. My assumption here is that because Blues has a Rosa and an Earth Crystal, you know you're going to get exit. You know your edge is strong enough to beat everything else. You can leave it on the table till you have the exit spell and save a few seconds later in the scene.
Should we just kill all the script bosses instead of like sitting through their script?
I mean, again, with this anchor, like you said, the time it would take to wait on 3 dark waves here is considerably longer than just slashing him 2 or 3 times.
But that is a boss you are glad to see there, and not, say, at the King of Town of Monster spot.
Oh yeah, and hey, that's very, very likely, maybe absolutely, the Excal that the classic Forge puts in the pool. That lightsaber is now Dart or Cell Fodder. We would love to add a Paladin to this team.
Well, and finding 2 cat claws in this Fabul, Yang, you gotta quit leaving your stuff just in random places.
Yeah, those are a wonderful find, now with, I mean, like Scar said, by the way, shout out to our restream team. Thank you, Flurry, on tracking, Scar, sir, on the on the restream. But the Cat Claw's dropping to tier 4. It really has powered up Yang. And the other nice thing is that with our fast edge anchor, Yang will be keeping pace in those late fights if you do find him and add him to the squad.
Well, and on BluesEclipse's side, finding a full moon, which doesn't seem like a great reward, except, your edge can now be back road, and that is fabulous.
Oh yeah, certain fights you'll be very thankful for that. CPU, most notably. Sometimes you really want to take down a Magus sister who's not in the front. Not always, but if you need that for a fight, you have the back row glitch active.
But BluesEclipse is going to be our first runner to go up Zot. Going to see who these two characters are. Going to see what the key item reward is. Maybe throw the Bard off the edge and get Exit for Rosa, which Exit's a great spell. 10 of 10. Love the spell.
Oh yeah. And we're talking about all this great gear we have for various characters, and there's 2 more up here in Zot. So. And another subtle thing that classic giant does is, okay, every one of the characters is guaranteed to be in the pool at least once. But sometimes your single copy of a character is at the end of Zod, and you end up getting multiple dupes beforehand. Not seen a single duplicate character yet, and that might be having some impact on the probabilities. So very likely to be able to round out the team nicely after this Zod trip.
Well, and Dekar is still only having 2 characters. Blues, well, no, he just picked up a sip. Never mind. 3 characters. And an Odin summon. Wouldn't you just want an Odin summon?
There are desperate times that call for such desperate measures. With this team, that is not one of them. But it's, another few thousand G to add to your coffers. Oof. Big divergence here. The first overworld spots, you can kind of group them all together with a team like this. None of them are really going to stand in your way. But and none of them are particularly long either. But here we have 2 different long checks. Ordeal's going to have 3 fights and a cutscene. Zot, 2 fights and a cutscene and a whole lot more walking. So first big divergence, we'll see if either of these outcomes gives one player or the other a big advantage.
And another freebie here at the top of tower. These are the Dark Imps. This is one of those bosses you would definitely like to see in a spot where you can get lots of XP from them.
Yeah, not having the boss bit means you are able to life glitch them. There are some places where this can be very lucrative. Notable pull though, Dekar finding a Thunderclaw early on Ordeals, another one of those puzzle pieces that can make your life so much easier in the long run with a rude Odin or a rude Kenatsu.
Or just a rude set of MacGiants.
Honestly, okay, so another thing that I've seen a lot of people talking about is how strong mage parties are on this flag set. Because you're not finding, extremely powerful weaponry early, and if you, get them all to nuke and holy, you're often skipping the second half of your Z fight. And they're one of the reasons why you're going to have those long grinds on a lot of seats. You want your mages, if you're going with a party of mages, you need them to get to their power overwhelming state. But so far, it feels like we're maybe making a team that's not going to need that to win. It feels like we're getting more Zerkerish, especially with the edge hero, which would make the slow mages kind of tricky to wield anyway. So maybe we end up not being very grindy? Maybe?
Well, you did mention that Thunderclaw a minute ago. This is that boss you would definitely like to take it out on, but I think Edge is just going to kill.
Oh yeah, 3,000 HP at this location. Edge is doing well over 750. There's no Zantetsuken coming out here.
But it's so much fun.
You're not wrong.
But Blues taking down those Dark Imps, I'm curious to see who the characters are up here, because that could really affect where you're going to go next.
Yeah, if there's a Cecil here, like, you're going to Ordeals. Hey, it's Cecil. You're going to Ordeals.
And Magus Sisters in spot 2. That's a good spot for them.
Yeah, they'll be at the Golbez fight, so that's only 3,000 HP split between the three of them. Their spells won't do a lot of damage, so you know Dwarf 2 is not going to really stymie you. Hello, Rydia. What was that item we found in the treasury again? Well, items.
That would have been a Leviathan summon.
Yeah, I believe we have, across these players, we have the Leviathan summon, a Charm Rod, a Sork Robe, I think I've seen a Gaia hat, and a Rune Ring. So as soon as this Rydia has, what is it, 45, 50 MP, she will be sweeping something fierce. Although I guess Blues has that Sork Robe on Rosa right now.
And did pick up a Black Sword, which is great for that Dark Knight Cecil until you can get him into a Paladin.
Yeah, but I mean, that's true and all, but when Dekar goes there, because he's also already been to Fabul, Dekar's going to have a Paladin Cecil with an Excalibur. I don't think it's a really fair comparison, DKC with
I mean, fair.
Yeah.
But you could use him to take on an egg or the Staleman if we had either of those key items now that I look at it. Where's the key items?
Yeah, I actually looked away for a moment. I did not see what the reward was in the Ordeal's chamber, but I don't see any key items lit up.
It was a Sork Robe.
Hey, now you have one for Rosa and one for Rydia. Perfect, perfect.
And Tybalt in chat pointing out this is almost a vanilla party.
We do see.
Who's that fifth character that we usually have? Oh yeah, Kane. I'd prefer a Sid over that.
You know, you may be saying this based on their characterizations, but with an Edge as your anchor, I promise you, you do not.
Look, I just like having a character that's got more than like 2k HP before level 50.
Yeah, yeah. But in the long run, this Sid will struggle to have sufficient turns, whereas a Kane is a very speedy boy. I thought for a moment there Blues might be danning that Rydia with the intent to eventually slingshot her, but it was only to reset the count. Val is maybe a kind of speedy spot, not really keeping up with Edge, of course, but getting the reset done, and Rydia will be gaining enough levels here to start casting Leviathan after this fight.
Just a measly 17.
So now we have really good single target damage, even more after Blues goes to Ordeals and Fabul, and really good multi-target damage. Although we did already see Dark Imps, but you know, there's other fights where you'll be thankful for it.
Well, and now going to see what the key item here is at the top of tower. A key item would be nice. I mean, that is a hook. That is required.
Yeah, Blues has a tricky question now then, because, you know, with a strong team, you can probably deal with anything in your way, and it feels so good to single dip Fabul, to get, you know, only go through Sylph Cave once, but I don't think you hold on that long. I think you'd still want to check for a Magma Key, or a Darkness Crystal even, before committing to a hook route. But we'll see what Blues does.
Looks like wants to make sure that the Magma Key here isn't here at Antlion Cave. Absolutely understandable. When you forget a Pan or a Magma Key at Antlion Cave and you have a way underground.
Blues here going to make a little bit of time up by virtue of being able to cast Exit out of here. Although, going to take a few more actions to actually get the Queen dead, because we have... It's all cycling back around, but there we go. Sometimes having the small party is a bigger advantage than you realize when you're cycling those turns back to whoever's actually doing the heavy lifting.
But Blues getting his pass, gonna exit out, which, again, exit, fantastic spell. And yeah, runners really are not that far apart, even though they've taken different routes.
Yeah, I think that's one of the nice things about starting with some pretty powerful party members and getting, you know, a very targeted loot place. You know, sometimes you'll have people have their preferences. You know, do you want to watery pass? Or are you just going to damn scene and try to make that work? Are you going to go take the time to full loot Evelyn Castle, or at least try to pull something powerful out of there? When both runners are given such precise direction from the seed, I think you're going to see them pretty close together, because you're going to have relatively the same team, relatively the same loot, no one spiking that one big ticket item.
And Blues does find tents in Fabul camping gear. Yes, please. But DekarSMASH getting his Paladin Cecil. I have a feeling we're going to hear a lot of crunch crunch.
It's a beautiful sound effect, but then again, the entire game is full of beautiful sound effects.
What is your favorite sound effect from Final Fantasy IV?
Oh, I'm kind of a big fan of Holy, White, but I also really do love the whoosh that several spears make. Like I believe the Gungnir and the Dragoon Lance both make them. They're good. Virus, of course, the classic answer from Twitch chat.
I like the little bloop.
Oh, when Mylon Z falls off the ravine? Yeah, that's a good one.
It's so subtle. And looks like Dekar gonna do the same strategy with this plague. Gonna bring that Redia up. 30 HP is very easily chewable through. And Count does come back out just in time.
Yeah. I like the use of the full moon chakram here on the edge to get double damage. Plague is floating. Well, Plague has an air weakness. I do not recall the last time I tried to cast Quake on Plague. It's probably actually flying, unlike, CPU. But it does have a weakness to thrown weaponry. So Spheres and Chakrams will give that double damage effect.
Spear, spear.
Spear, spear?
Spear, spear.
Spear, spear.
And Starveils.
Little surprised at the big Cure 2 purchase here, given that we do have a Rosa on the team already, but another situation where if you need them at a key moment and you don't have them, you will be sad. And 10 Starveils. Are we anticipating a trapdoor grind, perhaps?
It is a very viable grind. I wish I had have known that Reflect worked originally.
Oh, well, you mean when you started playing Free Enterprise, or when you were a youth playing Final Fantasy IV?
When I was a youth playing Final Fantasy IV.
Okay.
Now that I think about it, I wish I knew the warp glitch existed when I played it.
It would have made it even better, right? There you go. Don't deal with any of the jerks in that cave. Yeah, I think as a child, having Rosa to the wall spell there might. I loved running from fights. I was a very impatient youth, and thus it would always, end up with very difficult boss fights because I didn't want to take the time to get my levels up. So I don't think I ever had wall in that cave as a kid.
Yeah, that's probably fair for myself as well. I was lucky to have float in the Sylph Cave or in Cave of Some Monsters.
And here we see Dekar has pulled a little bit ahead. I think this is mostly on the back of ignoring the Edward, the very quick reset out of Hobbs. Blues did sit through that fight for a little more XP on Rosa, and then kind of had to, carry the Bard around until replacements were found. And we do have lovely replacements. This does mean Dekar is a few minutes ahead getting on this hook route. Did Dekar peak for the Mist Dragon anywhere?
I don't think either one of our runners has peaked in either the Octomam or the Vanilla spot for that Mist Dragon.
Gotcha. For what it's worth, there are some seeds where I think you really want to do that. Here, I think it's correct. It's honestly correct not to here, now that I reflect upon it. Because your team is very strong between your Cecil, your Edge, and your Rosa, and you have to do the hook route anyway for an objective. It will be funny if we get down here, though, and we do see a Golbez or a Val indicating there's a Magma Key in the overworld.
Or if we get to that first spot and see if Golbez and Ravel, because then you have to walk all the way out. Or you just deal with it at that point.
Yeah, I think the team is able to deal with any of those down here, so. Iridia putting in work. Beautiful 2,400 damage here. Hey, we don't get a new character, but who cares? Have you seen this team?
Yeah, and that is a guards variant in the second spot.
You know, it occurs to me that the Baron guards at the second fight here could be a little rude. Again, I don't keep track of every little bit of shopping. Did anyone find mute bells for sale and pick one up? Because I don't think Rosa is gonna know. Oh my god, never mind. Silent staff strats. I take it all back. I take it all back. You know how you were so excited about that, Allie? Now I'm excited about that silent staff.
Silent staff, best staff. Silent stat strats on on guards, best strat.
Okay, Chad, you know, again, it's funny how many seats I played, and I never pay attention to when Rosa learns the mute spell. So if she has, great. This is Baron Guards, great. It'll be a lot easier. If not, we may get to see our runners use the status timer to actually proc it with the staff guaranteed, which would be a great way to help neutralize those guards. Oh yeah, Toad is also very early on Iridia. Toad's tricky to land, though.
Well, and Rowdy Sniper pointing out that Aegis Shield was picked up on Dakar's side, so that Sid or maybe that Cecil, looks like Sid, not going to have to worry so much about those punches.
Yeah. Iridia here now getting her due. +3, +5, +3, +10. What does that add up to?
More than 10?
Yeah. That's 21 extra wisdom on that Iridia. Ooh, you love to see it when you have an early power summon like this. Yeah, we got the rune rings as well. Yeah. So whether these are Baron guards or Kaipo guards, these two runners are very well equipped to deal with them.
Now, what's guarding this first spot?
If it's Wyvern, it's not Wyvern. Okay.
It is very disappointing, is what it is.
Yeah, Peldim here. We did see a Dragoon gear put on that Cecil just a moment ago, so it fight's free. You know, I wonder, because of course in the Pixel Remaster version, Peldim has a few other moves that it pulls out, and I wonder if it was just like they had to cut them for time restrictions. They didn't want to. They felt it was too difficult for a lot of players. I wonder why the base game didn't get like the. I believe it uses Maelstrom, you know, the group single HP attack, given enough turns in certain other versions of the game. I wonder why we didn't get it here.
Because it needed to go to the behemoths.
Mm-hmm. Fascinating to see a little difference in the loot situation here. Blues doesn't have anything free to put on this paladin, whereas Dakar was kind of swimming in shields, at least it seemed. I wonder if Sid just has all the goodies, or what locations really made the difference between the two of them. I guess Dakar did do Antlion and Public Treasury and Part of Ordeals at minimum.
Does look like Blues is searching for some loot here. I'm not sure if looking specifically for those Stalemen. Stalemen are scary. I think this is one of the sneakiestly worst chests in the game.
Yeah, they're a very annoying fight, and they give hardly any XP, and the tier of their loot's not that good. But the cave itself just has so much loot in it that sometimes you're just willing to, you know, swallow that bitter pill just to have, you know, all the other stuff and not have to take a reset. Especially if you're doing shopping before you run into them. Oh, there's some shields. Okay, Blues did have them.
Looks like is wanting to buy something here in this shop. Yeah, I guess bandanas are pretty good.
So pricey though for those strength boosts. So pricey.
I believe that was one of the tier change or price changes from 4.5 to 4.6.
I mean, for what it's worth, they were such a must-buy before. But I think it's tricky to think about that because I like to kind of be done shopping past a certain point, and bandanas I feel that I rarely ever see anyway, and then when I do see them, I'm like 12,000. I don't know. Like at least the headband gives charm resistance and thus negates bad breath from like certain enemies and certain witch burn moves. Anyway, Dekar using Leviathan very easily knocks out the 3 normal guards, and we're through.
And BluesEclipse fighting this Staleman, I think we'll get through unless something terrible happens to that edge.
Yeah, sleep in Final Fantasy IV is so rude because you don't wake up from sleep by being punched. Which, charm wears off, but sleep, you are staying there until you actually get healed of it properly or the timer expires.
Did pull an Artemis bow out of that chest. Artemis bow, great pickup. Gonna be great for that pale dim.
Well, Artemis Bow doesn't give dragon damage, but I think it's still a fantastic pickup. With a fast anchor, you're really going to want Artemis Bows or Heroine Robes, I think, in my opinion, for your white mage, so that your Rosa or your Porum can keep up with what's going on. And the Artemis Bow's not as much agility as a Heroine Robe, but you can take it off mid-combat and get your spell multipliers back if you need them.
That's right. It's only the arrows that give the dragon thing words.
Yes, exactly, the dragon thing. You got it. Dekar, meanwhile, did see an Octomam at the top of Lower Babel on the way through the tower, and is now headed to Dwarf Castle. A little bit of shopping at these higher tier shops, quick glances, and we know Magus Sisters are the second fight here, so seems like a pretty decent spot to go ahead and go to.
And with that ready, have changed up the tiering spells that she can learn for summons here. Could pull out a Bahamut. A Bahamut's almost as good as a nuke.
Bahamut's very good. It is one of those things where it used to be you pull a Leviathan or a Bahamut and you would instantly pop it. But with the tiering change to these spells here, it's kind of funny because you will sometimes hold on to it because it's like, I can probably get through this fight, and if I learn it for free, why don't I turn the other one into cash?
And finding a turtle here, yeah, turtle.
Yeah, Spot only has what, like 8 to 9,000 HP, something like that. So although it punches like the Dickens, as we just saw that hit on Rosa in the back row, you don't have to worry about the wave being wiping your party. So another potentially problematic boss put in a spot that is, well, it's done. It's taken care of. It's gone.
We didn't even see a wave, did we?
Well, we saw one, but it was Rydia's. That counts, right?
You want to see a wave? Here's my wave.
I'm imagining you saying that and then just hanging up the call and leaving the Discord and vanishing. Like waving goodbye. Okay, never mind.
Well, and I didn't see what spells Rydia learned. I saw Sylph.
For what it's worth, I never see them when I learn them either. My muscle memory for after that is always click, 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 mash that button. So I never know what I got until the next fight either, when I finally go into the spell menu. I'm sure we'll learn soon enough, or maybe someone in chat caught them.
Magus Sisters very quickly down. Not a threat in that spot at all. But some nice a little bit more XP and Virus.
Yeah, if you don't want to cast summons because you're against certain moon bosses, or you just want a faster animation and cast time, Virus is pretty handy, pretty handy.
Now, Blue's getting a little bit bullied here by this Pale Dim. Very punchy, very angry.
Yeah, and Blues' Cecil has not gotten to gain any levels yet in Paladin form. Another kind of subtle advantage that Dekar gained by doing ordeals before Zot. Hey, there's a magma key. That puts us at 3 key items. Allie, where are the key items? Where are the useful key items?
I don't know, but we have a pass.
You know, if
So
this
when we
were
found them all on the moon.
if this were good old push me to jump, you could just go ahead and go to the moon with this team. I tell you what. Nah, you would not be able to beat the seed. Don't do that.
Just a few questionable life choices. It's fine.
Aegis shields herself. I wonder what Dekar's looking for in the armor. I mean, apparently satisfied with weapons, so probably just checking for black belt keys, I would guess at this point. More strength multipliers on these big beefy brutes.
I mean, that Cecil or the Edge does have that ninja shirt, so
Yeah. Ninja shirt, doesn't give strength, it gives agility, but the defense and the magic defense are so nice.
yep, it's just like a heroine robe except for Edge and sells for a lot.
Thank you, NicoCat. NicoCat figured out what the summons added were. Sylph, Titan, Shiva, Bomb, and Mist. I guess Sylph plays in a CPU fight? Well, that's about it.
My eggs! My eggs! Sorry, I'm very amused by our art done by our wonderful restreamer Scarcerer on the yellow dragon. I love it. It's great.
I like to imagine that this was originally the plan of some intrepid dwarven farmer who thought they were going to make a fortune in the breakfast industry, but no one told them that they get bigger. When people get their miniature teacup pigs, and then next thing you know, you have a 500-pounder in your backyard. That was the dwarven entrepreneur who was trying to pull this off with yellow dragons.
And the first time he tried to crack an egg, all of a sudden he gets eaten.
Electrified, then eaten, but yes.
And that is a darkness crystal there from the free spot in Summon Monsters. That's is that go mode?
That's go mode, because we have 2 more objectives down here, King and Queen, and then we have 3 in space, the Giant and 2 of the Moon Altars. So this is where the runner's pulses will increase, and I have a feeling no one's waiting for 10 key items before doing a grind with this group.
Are we even going to see 10 key items?
Probably not. We could probably do you could probably do if you wanted to have channel point gambling, you could do something like what will be the key item count at the end of this seed, because I will be shocked if they make it to 10. Shocked.
Now that is a very, very gross Valvalis.
But that's not a very bad. Wait, yeah, that was Mylon Z. Any bit of undead protective gear on Cecil makes that fight free. And also Excal will carve it up. Excal and also the Full Moon Ninja Blade combo will carve it up very nicely. It has an air weakness to make it immune to Quake. So, yeah, I think we're going to see Dekar go ahead and swing at this Leviathan spot.
Oh yeah, this Mylon Z is about to have a very bad day. But BluesEclipse gonna do the public dwarven treasury. Are we gonna see a job dwarf? How do you?
Your memes are dead. You got to make new ones. It happens to the best of us.
My eggs.
All right. Well, my eggs. Or for the Helldivers 2 contingent, Sweet Liberty, my eggs. That's a joke for about 3 people out there, including our tracker.
I was gonna say, aren't like 2 of them in chat or in this booth?
Yeah. But you know, sometimes you got to do something for yourself, you know. Yeah, we see these big hits. Blink alone neutralizes most of what Mylon Z can do to this team with its single target punches. There's no big multi-target spells. There's no there's nothing like how Val will, you know, weaken you first or start stacking a status element that you sometimes have to contend with. It's just punch, punch, and Blink says no punch, no punch.
Yeah, really all you need is for Rosa and Cecil to get XP at this point.
And FBL pointing out in chat that Edge would be doing a lot more damage here with the flip over to the full moon. But Cecil's doing 5k a hit, 35,000. I can see not wanting to bother doing the menuing. So I think both ways are fine here. It's just how much menuing do you want to deal with when your pally is over here crunching it up.
And BluesEclipse picking up that Darkness Crystal is probably going to skip. Oh, okay.
Hello there, beautiful. Sweet Avenger, my beloved. Well, Rosa has less things to do in these fights going forward. This is menuing I'm here for. Yeah, bring that Avenger up to play. Anyway, sorry. You were saying something and then I saw an Avenger and my brain broke.
BluesEclipse going to skip the Dwarf Castle, gonna pick up a little bit of time there.
That's actually very good for Blues. We know that Dekar didn't get a summon better than Leviathan from it. We also know that the reward is only a Magma Key. So Blues definitely gaining some time back here.
But this Valvalis is very unhappy with everything that's ever happened.
Yeah, super speedy spot, and Dekar not saving between combats. Playing this go mode to the bone. I mean, Blink, again, does a ton of work for this fight. And we do have some good dartables. Like, we saw the Drain Spear being thrown. I'm not sure if Dekar still has the Lightsaber. You're not going to throw the X-Cal. You got to save it for your Avenger glitching. But, yeah, going ahead and taking both these fights now. We talked earlier about how, you know, it's funny. We have the pass, so we could come back from the moon. But with how the key items fell, not necessary. Although Blues might be making that play.
Yep, Blues might have looked at those 2 bosses and said, I'd like to do those last, thank you.
Will definitely be easier with a bunch of levels. So if Blues does a very efficient grind here, we'll likely be able to gain some time just because both that Mylon Z and that Val will die so much faster. And we have the pass, so you're not terribly punished for going and coming back.
Well, and if somehow Blues pulls both sides of Forge out or a Sand Ruby and can skip this Val?
Ooh, even better. And yeah, I didn't mention it, but our tracker and restream were both pointing out Blues knocked his Rydia off before killing the Yellow Dragon to make her fall behind in levels. If you're 5 levels behind the median, you're going to get double XP until you get caught up. And yeah, we're even seeing the manipulation here. MacGiant is going to be happening very soon for BluesEclipse.
But what is a MacGiant and why are we in Baron?
Oh, okay. So, all right. I gotcha. Twin Heart, by the way, from Dekar there. We won't be hearing that until after the seed is done. Pardon me. So, back in an earlier Zemus zone, one of the flags that was included for it was E can't run. You cannot run from fights. If you take a fight, you have to stay in it. This flag was added to Free Enterprise with the intent of neutralizing certain D-machine grinds that were just so overwhelmingly powerful. Make it to where, if you're not rolling it on your first fight, you have to carve through whatever's between you and it. A very clever community member by the name of Twisted Flax said, you know what? These enemy formations and everything are seated. I'm going to make it to where you can get the fight you want. So we go to Baron here, we reset with encounters on, we walk a number of steps, and we look at a little chart. It tells us how many more fights until we get the grind we desire. So you see Blues here figured out his number and is now going to take some number of additional fights before getting him in the well, going to the giant. First fight will be the searcher that summons MacGiants. Is that everything?
I think it is.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, this is what happens when the admins try to control the meta of grinding.
The community is too dang smart. That's why you just have to turn on Eno XP completely, which is an option for people who are doing the but as these runners adjusted the flags, that is one of the 5 options you can choose right now if you and your opponent choose to do it, and it's also one that can be on the table once we get to the next stage of the tournament.
And once we do get to that next stage, those will be required. We will definitely be hyping up. There's a lot more than just the 5. We'll be hyping those up. It'll be absolutely wonderful.
Yeah. Oh, and Dark Pal in the chat asking how you can run if E can't run is on. E can't run is the flag that caused the charts and the manipulations to be discovered. But in this case, we're doing it just because it's still usually faster to use it than it is to try to run from a bunch of giant fights while you are underleveled. Also, there's the fact that some seeds, it's prohibitively time-consuming to get to the grind fight. Like if it's one that takes, 8 fights before you get to it, here you can know it, you can reset, you can get a better seed. So it's still a time save, but it's not, this is the only way to make it happen.
And for those of us who can't figure out how the D machine chart works, this chart is much easier to read.
Yeah, and we see Dekar setting up the same thing, another area here over near Baron. So likewise looking for the same grind. Even with our powerful gear, there can be big nasties at the end of the giant. Both those spots have a lot of HP and a lot of strength if certain bosses land on them. I mean, CPU spots, just strong, period. So both our runners do want to do at least some grind here before they take on bosses. Hey, there's a solitary searcher. The most recent incarnation of the chart I would recommend is community member Antidel consolidated a whole lot of grind charts into one easy-to-read document. And it is pinned in League General. Thank you, Scarcerer. Well, there's at least one version of it. I'm not sure if that's Antidel's, but there are many guides on the Discord. Folks have painstakingly put their personal time into it to help everyone be a better and faster runner of the game.
And a BluesEclipse throwing out a Silk Web here on this MacGiant and Searcher. This is very heads up because, well, this thing does punch for quite a bit, and you keep that Silk Web every time you bring it back to life.
That's right. An enemy that respawns in the same slot keeps the same status effects. For instance, with CPU or the Magus Sisters or Bigon's Arms, if you slowed them and they get respawned by the boss, hey, they're still slow. So it works with normal enemies, it works with bosses. It's a very, very useful tool to keep in mind.
This is incredibly, symmetrical, and I'm here for this.
Yeah, let's take a close look here and pay attention to what each runner is doing. Of course, Blink is a necessity here. Nearly anyone on this team will be two-shot by a MacGiant if they're hit. We see anti-giant weaponry in play. I believe there's a Thunderclaw on both edges. There are anti-giant axes on the Cecils and the Sids. Party differences, though. Dekar does have a Palom instead of Rydia. Wait, where did he come from?
So Dekar did jump into Mysidia to grab that Palom, got rid of the Rydia because she did gain some levels, and said, no, I'll take this child instead.
I do understand this. Palom takes fewer levels generally, or less XP generally to reach nuke, but moreover, if you are just going to the nuke spell itself, Palom's going to have many more HP than Rydia will, and if she had gotten XP to where she wouldn't have been slingshotted, it makes even more sense. So, Rydia, you did great work this seed, but go mode makes fools of us all.
Now, Blue's taking my favorite route of keeping the Rydia. Might not be the right thing, but it's my favorite.
Well, the big thing is Blues didn't do Dwarf Castle, and that is where Dekar saw that Palom.
Oh, that's right. So Blues never saw. Blues just had an Edward as an option, and that's no. We certainly haven't found a spoon yet. We haven't found anything yet.
And honestly, even with the spoon, with the levels Edge will have here, I could see that being kept as a very quick means of dishing out quad 9s to a rude boss that you just don't want to deal with for an extended amount of time.
Now, what could be back here that would be the most obnoxious for our runners?
I always hate Golbez's Elements because there is a forced full heal and status restoration from him before you start the fight. So all your usual goodies that you like to do to set up for it, you don't get to do. You don't get to knock your party down to 2. You don't get to apply Piggy and Minnie as you see fit. You're going in there with 5 characters, and I believe the speed is such that you're probably not getting a chance to do anything to stop the dragon picking who gets to stay standing. So I hate that one there. As far as the CPU fight, I don't know. Who would you hate to see there?
Wyvern can be pretty rough depending on which burn spell we get. I think, though, seeing a Mist Dragon at either one of those spots would be a little obnoxious.
Ugh. Yeah. I mean, at least the Mist Dragon at CPU only has 30,000, and we will have nuke on Palom. But Demist at Elements. Okay, so Elements in vanilla is two different monsters, quote unquote. You have a Mylon that transforms into Ruby, and then you have a new monster, which is the Kanatsu that transforms into Valvalis. In Free Enterprise, that means that Boardface felt entirely justified allotting like 102,000 HP or so on the enemies there. So any solo one's gonna get about 65,000, and even a group of 2 enemies will be nearly at the max allowed integer value or whatever. Hey, Blues looks done.
And found a cabin.
Rydia not quite to nuke yet, but may figure Leviathan's good enough, and we'll get levels from these remaining fights anyway. And again, the Zerkers, they're good. They're real good. Like, Rydia may just be kind of an afterthought anyway. Here goes Dekar.
There's Cure 4.
Yeah, Cure 4, and Palom goes to level 53. That's nuke on Palom. So swapping the mage over, definitely giving Dekar a little leverage here. To say nothing of having the 2 Feymarch fights already done. So Blues is the first into these 2 fights, but yeah, I'm thinking that nuke spell is going to give Dekar the pretty good edge in them.
But what if we did some more life glitching?
Did Rydia get enough levels to learn Weak? I'd do it if she learned Weak here. Or, of course, Death, but I'm not sure Rydia made it that far. And we don't have an Assassin Knife to do it the other way. Oh, that's cute. That's real cute.
Oh, Dekar's saying no, I'm going to take my chance on whatever's on the moon, see if I can't get another
Get
go mode.
yeah, get Forge or get Sand Ruby or what's the other one? Oh, those are the only two. With the pass, it's a cute play. But Blues here has found a freebie at the first spot, and there's the Fatal and the Life Lich. Did know it. Well, wait. Is this a Life Lich? That's a Cure 3.
That's a
Oh, no
surplus.
Life Lich. No! Unfortunate. I mean, still gonna be another, what, 102,500 XP? Isn't that the number here?
Probably.
Sorry, I said a big number, and I forgot that I'm not allowed to do that.
Look, sometimes my brain just goes, that's bigger than 10. I do inventory a lot for a living. I don't want to count when I get home.
Hey, there we go. There is Nuke for Blues. So, yeah. If Dakar does not get an alternate go mode from these fights, Dakar is giving a lot of time back to Blues with this route. I kind of get it a little bit more too, because Dakar found with the manipulation, you find your MacGiant instantly. If you want to walk to the bosses, you still have several floors to go through. And like we said, Golbez, D-Mist. There's so many fights there that can be so rude. Oh. Okay, I'm putting the advantage back in Dakar's court now. The question is Dakar going to keep fishing on the moon after doing these altars? Or is he just going to grit his teeth and go back to the giant? Oh,
Well,
goodness.
depending on what he finds, we could have just one very long chain that's all behind the harp.
That's true.
I mean, it can't all be there, but a lot of it could.
Yeah. So the good news here, though, for Blues is that although this looks terrible and nasty and everything, Rydia has all her black magic spells. She has weak. That means the D-Machine fight won't be an issue here. We have tons of damage on the rest of the team for everyone else. This isn't actually a problem. It's just annoying and time-consuming.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those not hard but annoying and time wasting. That's a boss.
Yeah, but it's fine. Cecil's armored up in the back row, moisturized, flourishing in his lane, and we have Nuke on Palom.
Oh wait, is this it? Ribbon Room?
Yeah.
Palom, calm down.
Palom kill. Burn them all. Palom's actually the equivalent of a like 8-year-old with a magnifying glass making ants pop on the sidewalk, except, you know, a little more necessary.
I mean, that's basically what he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, just on the moon.
Oh no, we're eating a counter needle. Ow. Only 7 more of those to someone and they'll die.
My first race ever had Antlion at Crystal Sword Altar, and I didn't understand the concept of counters.
Oh, I didn't understand them until I was like 18. And I had played FF4 and FF6. No. FF6, I didn't attack the Whelk shell. It's fine. FF4, though, no, I hit everything. I'm like, ow. Why does it hurt when I poke it?
Why is Aroma's Cane multi-target weak on me when I hit it with Holy?
Oh, well, I would never do that, because my Rosa, of course, had a heroin robe on and couldn't do any damage. I didn't know about stats either.
And neither one of those were key items that we were looking for.
Yeah, we got a little more dart fodder, at least. If there's another thing you really want to yeet something out with edge, Defense Sword fills that niche.
But what if we find the Sand Ruby and we pick up that cane? We could give him the Defense Sword.
You know, you were saying that you'd rather have Sid over Kane at this point. I'm with you. I'm with you for the duration of the seed.
But I think this is the last of the encounters for BluesEclipse.
Yeah, because I think yeah. It feels like it's been long enough. More levels. Interesting.
Definitely better here than at the other spot, because that's just obnoxious. 65,000k HP of.
But, we didn't see another item back at the Ribbon Room, but this one is 2 checks if you're willing to fly all the way to Mist Village to make it. Which I guess if we get the Sand Ruby, you're kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone.
Better the Sand Ruby than the package.
We do get a Mist Transformation. Gonna have to wait a moment before coming back around.
And BluesEclipse also heading to the moon, probably hoping to spike kind of the same things that Dekar has.
Yeah. I mean, and given who we saw in Feymarch, I kind of like this anyway. Even just to eke out a few more levels before dealing with that Valvalis. It's not necessary, but if you were to go to Feymarch, you'd have to swap back to your well afterwards. I think this is just, even all things being equal, a little more efficient.
And that is a spoon. That's not the key item we're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, another good dartable, though. Of course, we know that if Dekar just goes giant here, it doesn't really matter for the guards, and it doesn't do a whole lot when you have a full gauntlet. So, but yeah, maybe we'll just see that save for the Zeromus fight then.
And from a question in chat asking about what mode we have turned on, we do have mode 7 on for this race. That is a variation that we can the runners can add. That is kind of what they were left with. And Dekar heading to that giant. Did he turn in the Mamaridia?
No, didn't even bother. And I get it. Like, if you had gotten like half the forge from any of those checks, maybe you do that, because that would be faster. But with the cutscene to sit through and how much power this team has, going directly back to the giant makes sense. Like, there was a little bit of a gamble, but your team can beat any 2 fights here. And hey, you don't have to worry about demisted elements anymore.
That is true.
And you also are thinking, well, and if I need to throw the spoon at someone, that'll carve off 10,000 of that, 65,000 HP here. But of course, we know that's not the case.
Yeah, there's really nothing good to throw the spoon at here.
Now, Dekar can actually, if Dekar doesn't feel the need for XP, a very quick stone cast probably solves this fight. As badly as I would love to see a life glitch here, just because of it being absurd, I understand the desire for alacrity. There we go.
Can you do it, Pelham? Yes, you can. I know he's got like 8 million wisdom, but sometimes you just can't trust.
Oh yeah, I never trust an off-center stone cast. It's not hit until I know the enemies are gone. I never have actual confidence.
But
Ooh.
while our runners are kind of just going over some of the same steps, we do have a minute. I do want to shout out our Restream team tonight. We have Scarcer on Restream, we have Flurry on tracking, and I am joined by the wonderful Inven.
Who's that?
That's you.
Oh, okay. I was trying to think of some silly pun about how you put the all in Alicel because of how much you do for the community, but they technically different phonemes, and I couldn't really make it work. But yeah, shout outs to Allie for all the work she's done, getting making the restreams happen for the community, especially us getting to do this race right here in the booth now.
And if you've ever thought, hey, I would like to maybe help out, try out one of those Restream things, we absolutely encourage you to join the Restream team. We don't throw you into, suddenly you're managing a Restream. We don't do that. We give you all the tools you can to succeed. Me joining the Restream team was the best thing that I could have done. I've made so many good friends, met so many awesome people. Yeah, and we love to see everyone succeed.
I'm just imagining there's a wonderful round of applause coming from chat for you right now.
Aw,
Ooh,
thank
yeah.
you.
Clap, 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 clap. But yeah, just a couple more fights left for Dakar, and we'll be in go mode. Blues has bled a little bit of time here. It's very subtle because you think their teams are pretty equally powered, but like one thing I noticed is that Rydia back at that Antlion fight, not doing the quad nines that we've been seeing out of Palom, was doing more like 65 to 7,500. And this is even after having that extra alt gauntlet on the Giant. So the swap to Palom looking to really be coming into play for Dakar here.
Yeah, as much as I hate to say it, he is doing more damage, and that makes me sad. But as all things in free enterprise, just because they're your favorite character in vanilla does not mean that they can be your favorite character in the actual randomizer.
I mean, they can still be your favorite character. It's just in any given race, one can be better than the other depending on what you find. If there had been a tiara lying around, things of that nature, maybe things would have been a little different. Chat asking, what does mode 7 mean? So there are minor adjustments to the base flag set that runners can elect to gamble upon. Basically, they can take turns striking them out, and they end up with any of a number of cute titles that are just flag adjustments. Mode 7 changes the base flag set by removing one of the 7 random objectives, replacing it with Classic Giant, and changing Forge from Normal Forge to Classic Forge. Allie, what does the Classic Giant change do again?
Well, you no longer get a character at the end of the Giant, as we see.
Yep.
Um,
And then the Forge one.
the Forge one, Kakol says, no, you can't have this thing that I made, it's mine. But you can find that XCal in the key item pool.
Yeah. So even though these seeds are all C Hero, whatever that Super Smith Game Boy Advance, Final Fantasy IV Advance weapon would be, it's gone. But there is an extra XCal in the pool, so your Cecils may get a little more value if you're lucky to find it, which both our runners did.
Yep, I think that really kind of set it for, hey, this is the route you need to take because XCal Cecil is good.
Dakar finishes off that alt gauntlet. We were a little worried that the second restream tonight, happening in about 43 minutes here on Free Enterprise, we're like, oh, are we gonna have to move it to another channel? Not with this seed. Not not with the one we rolled for this race. Very, very early power, very direct and obvious path to go mode. Neither runner could really afford it. Neither runner could really miss it. And Dakar on his way to that Z fight.
Yep. And at this point, we do have to talk about Zeromus. He is just too much to really put in the pool of bosses. His script is complicated. He's probably too hard unless you're ready for him. But Zeromus likes to get a glow up. And yeah, likes to look fancy. And for our first restream of the tournament, he is going to be putting on his fanciest stuff. So let's see who Zemus is tonight.
It's gonna be real funny when it's one of those sprites that just has a very slight adjustment to the base sprite. you try to hype it up so much, and it's just like, rotated 90 degrees or something.
A glow up is a glow up, even if
Okay.
it's like it has extra eyes. Flurry and I went the same place with that.
We have Edge throwing the crystal for the transform. We have Cecil flipping over to the Avenger. You don't take a turn here, because if you do, you'll have Avenger stats for your Zerker instead of Xcal, and we want the Xcal stats. I think Rosa will go next and probably Zerk Edge. Yep.
That's really not a glow up. That's just mean.
Palom putting on a Starvel here instead of going ahead for the nuke. I want to make sure that he does not eat counter nukes. Oh, and of course we have Silk Webs, which will make this a lot more manageable on the agility front.
Well, yeah, Rosa's got things to do. Like, I guess cure this edge.
I don't know. He evaded a couple rolls of that nuke. I think he at least at least one of them. So if that ninja shirt's still on, coming in clutch, he likely would survive the nerf Big Bang. But yeah, you're absolutely gonna cure for him. Keep the Q clogged with your fastest swinger, and have the DPS coming. Oh no, I thought that was a cure for it. That's another Zerk. All right, Edge, can you dodge again? Or are you taking a nap? That's a dodge.
He can definitely dodge a wrench.
So Edge lives, and that's gonna probably, like, you don't want to jump to conclusions, but this is such a wonderful Zemus fight setup that it's probably gonna be smooth sailing the rest of the way here out. You have Xcal Cecil. You have Edge with, I think that's still the same Ninja Blade longsword we've seen all game. You have Palom nuking for 2,000. For 9,000. Even Sid is doing over 2,000 with axe swings here. So
Yeah, Cecil, small child. Yeah, no, this HL3 miss is actually going to go down.
yeah, we're reflecting nukes so that we don't eat counter nukes. If we had more mages, you might be seeing an attempt at a refill skip, but again, the physical hitters here are just so good that we're gonna chew through all the HP instead of skipping the second half.
Well, I did see Dekar just queue up a direct cast Holy.
That feels like that's just kind of let Rosa have some fun.
Oh wait, no, it was reflected. Never mind.
It was okay. Yeah, sometimes with the frame rate, when we are on restream, you can miss the pointer quickly swapping to the right. That's another great thing about Dekar's turn party order here is that with the Starvel on Palom, you only have to tap right once when you're inputting your spell. You don't have to, move it over, bring it down, turn it all around.
I've never accidentally nuked one of my characters because I had the Starveil on the wrong thing and then mismenued. But that's rocks.
Yep. So under 12,000 HP at this point. So one more round of attacks will get this. If Rosa gets this holy off, she'll steal the kill. Oh no, that's Cure 4. Never mind. Cure 4. Ah. I can't keep track of all these white magic spells. All right.
And Sid takes us home.
God, you said you wanted him over Kane. Sid pulling off the finish. GG's in chat out for DekarSMASH, coming in with a time of 1 hour, 11 minutes, 37 seconds. That is ridiculously fast for this flag set, but, when the seed gives it to you, what you gonna do?
And I believe with a beding in my ear, we have been joined by DekarSMASH. GG's.
Dekar, are you there?
Well, while we sort through some tech issues, we did get BluesEclipse through that Valvalis did pick up the crystal, and likely on his way to Zeromus as well.
Oh yeah, exciting to see another Fast Anchor fight coming up. We'll see how things are different with that slight party variation. But I think I did just hear Dakar speak. Dakar, GG's.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Allie.
I was just going to say, how did you feel looking at those objectives and realizing you needed like 3 key items?
Right.
Oh, you cut out a little bit there.
It's a objective cause.
Dakar, you're cutting in and out like every other word there. It's hard to. Could there be something with your mic gate? Is there like a fan in the background that maybe it may be thinking you're just background noise?
Is it any better now?
We heard
Yes.
every word of that sentence. Yeah.
Push to talk must be the way to go.
Oh, excellent.
Oh, push to talk is 100% the way to go. That's my favorite. But yeah, my original question: 3 key items. How did that feel?
Pretty terrifying, to be honest with you. Just you don't find the darkest crystal, and your opponent does, and it can just easily swing it by a huge amount.
Next question I'm wondering about. Would you mind telling us your thought process for leaving the Giant and going to the LST instead of finishing it while you were there?
It's just such a huge time save if you luck into the Sand Ruby, especially if the bosses are rude, which they sort of turned out to be, with the Gauntlet in the second spot anyway. That I just felt like, you do have to sit through the Giant cutscene again, but that's a relatively small time loss compared to unnecessarily doing the bosses there.
Gotcha. Anything that stood out to you on the seed that you thought was just something that was really cute that you found, or a trick you did in a boss fight, something you want to point out and recommend to other people to keep in mind?
Just reset out of that Eddie. You don't want him taking turns when you have an edge that's that powerful. So I think that probably saved me some time. Sorry, Eddie fans.
Meh.
I don't think you're going to find any of those in this booth tonight. I give him what credit he's due, but that's it. No more. And he didn't get any from me when you reset out of him tonight.
Yeah, otherwise, it wasn't really too challenging of a seed. I mean, the Fame Arch bosses were not trivial, but I had sort of done as much as I could to prepare to take them on the first trip down, and the party was just so powerful that it was doable, albeit Valvalis was kind of slow.
Yeah. Would there have been any bosses there that you would have absolutely gone and grinded first and just accepted that you were walking back through the Fame Arch cave?
Probably if there was like orbs at the king spot, or maybe Golbez there, maybe an Ogopogo, something like that.
Cool.
And then just kind of, we noticed a lot of looting early game, and then a lot of shopping after that. Was there something specific you were looking for?
Well, I didn't have any strength gear on my body slot, so I was looking for the black belt geese in particular. And as far as the early game looting, I think, I like to loot generously early because the early game looting is the most impactful. You have those items for the longest time. It's really knowing when to stop, I think, is the bigger issue than looting too much early that people run into.
Makes a lot of sense. Well, GG's, congratulations on your win. We look forward to seeing who your matchup next week is. Any final thoughts before we get into this, into Blues' Zeromus fight?
Not really. Just want to thank all the people who were involved in putting the tournament together. I think the flags are a blast, and it's been a while, and it's fun to be playing competitive free enterprise again.
Well, we are so glad to have you, and we hope to see more.
All right, with that, I'll let you guys talk to Blues.
And we did see BluesEclipse take a quick reset out of the Zemus fight. I'm sure there was something there that needed adjusting while we were doing the interview. Chat, was it like the Avenger was already equipped on Cecil? Was it something like turn order needed to be fixed? Did anyone actually catch that? All right, Karen letting us know there was an Avenger left on, and yeah, you don't want to start that way. For one thing, you can glitch out while you're trying to use a crystal if there's not enough turns before him, and with the extra agility from the Avenger, that's probably going to happen. And also, the Excal just has, much higher attack power. You want that to be the weapon that you glitch into with the Avenger, or glitch into the Avenger with. So, makes a lot of sense to take that quick reset. It will make the fight a lot smoother. And yeah, we are off to the races versus HL3mus on the second go-around.
And looks like our first big bang is coming out. Everybody's at full HP. This is not worrisome in the slightest. Rydia only taking 212.
And we are going to see the reflex start coming out now. There's a... Oh, sorry. That's really cute, because that is always the funniest thing that happens to me, to anyone. Whenever you don't do Dwarf Castle and you have Rydia in your final team, you're like, Cure 1? Where's my nuke? Where's my nuke?
With that muscle memory, you're just like, well, there's not a third type of magic that I need to worry about.
Yeah, you get so used to your thumbs just going down A, right A, and it gets in the way there. I do hope that at some point we see someone reflect a Cure 1 onto Zemus in this tournament. It didn't happen to Blues, luckily. We did get the nuke queued up, but that's just one of those things that, you can't help but laugh at, the woes of life.
I mean, I've had Rydia's where that's probably the best thing she could do in the fight.
I do see chat pulling up the schedule command. We'll go ahead and let you know. There is another Zemus Zone 6 race coming here on twitch.tv/freeenterprise at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, just about half an hour from now. So when we wrap up this race, get yourself a snack, get yourself a beverage, stretch your legs, and be ready to be right back here for more Zemus Zone 6 action. Who's going to be in that race, Sally?
That race is going to be, I believe, that is Rybon and...
Wreck-It 89.
Yes, Rybon and Wreck-It 89.
Excellent. Some new blood. I don't think I've seen Wreck-It in tournament play before. So I love seeing new people enter the community and hop on these restreams and be willing to, have us in the booth come in, analyze their gameplay, compare themselves to another runner, and learn more and get better and better. There's no... I mean, okay. Everyone has their own learning style, but I think that racing other people and having that direct comparison is one of the best ways to improve your gameplay. Wreck-It did complete in the Evelyn Elixir League. Thank you, Xenocat.
Yep, I believe Wreck-It and their brother both competed in the same group.
Gotcha. Ooh.
As friends, now they compete in the same group as enemies.
Ooh. Thank you for that correction. Either way, love to see relatively new blood in the community. Maybe
Also,
first Zemus Zone there.
Yeah. Rosa took a little bit of a tumble there.
It's fine. Sometimes your Starvel's... Was it Starvel wearing off? I think Blues has this. Well, okay. Little stream hiccup there. Yeah, there's rocks. Okay.
Rocks.
Oh, poor Rosa, though. Oh.
Rosa, now was a good time to dodge a wrench or a giant falling meteor from the sky.
But over 2,000 HP left on the Cecil, so even if 2 more meteors came out, it wouldn't be a problem. But this nuke, is that enough? Oh yeah, it's not disappearing.
Yeah.
That is GG's. GG's out in chat for BluesEclipse. coming in with a 1:22:23. Again, wonderful time on this flag set. I think any sub 90 is worth applauding. So GG's to Blues, and we are joined by BluesEclipse.
Hello there.
Hello and GG's.
Thank you. That was definitely a seed. That is honestly the fastest time I have had on a free enterprise seed.
That's awesome.
What went through your brain when the Darkness Crystal came out of the Feymarch chest?
At that point, I was just like, okay, don't even bother looking at the King and Queen of Feymarch. Do my grind. I already had pass in hand, so do my grind, do the moon altars, and then finish things off on the planet. Just straight line right through that, and honestly, I've been looking at that line for the entirety of the seed, just because of how the objectives lined up.
Well, in that Val, definitely not something you would want to walk into without some sort of grind.
Definitely not. I've tried doing that pre-grind before on these flags, and it just does not work.
Tell us a little bit about your early game theory. We did see relatively different overworld routes until everyone converged on the hook route, but what were you thinking in terms of where you went early? Treasury, of course, perfect sense. But what was your plan in the early game with this rather loaded Edge and Rosa?
Honestly, when I saw Edge, Rosa, and the Earth Crystal, my plan was hit the treasury first, and then make a decision from there. Do I go for more character checks? Or do I think I have enough power with just Edge and Rosa to storm Zot right then and there?
Ooh, that would have been real spicy. What kind of
Yeah.
gear would you have wanted to see to go ahead and beat that aggro with it?
Heroine robe and a good bow for Rosa in addition to what I had already found.
Mm-mm.
Because Edge alone, I didn't think would have been able to carry those fights. Thinking back on it, he might have been able to with just burning all of the darts, but I didn't know if I was going to need to hold any of those weapons for other characters.
Makes sense, makes sense. Allie?
So when you started the seed, did you realize I could have a 3-key item go mode?
I looked at it, I thought was actually, okay, go mode in 2 items. Because the only required items were the hook and the darkness crystal.
That's true, because magma was underground.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that always feels like a scary feeling to me. How did you feel when you saw that?
I saw that, and strange as it's going to sound, I actually thought that that was probably the best case scenario for me. Just the way the objectives lined up, it was shaping up to be a very linear seed. And especially when I found that hook at Zot, I realized, okay, there is going to be just a single path through this seed, and it would come down to, can I find that path and execute it before my opponent? And Dekar, I will acknowledge, is probably one of the top contenders for winning this tournament, just based off of what I've seen from past performance from him. So, knowing that knowing what it would come down to with that, I honestly thought this was going to be my best chance to pull out a win. Didn't work out for me, but I'm still very, very pleased with how I finished.
Oh, absolutely. That was beautifully done. I sure feel bad for your opponent next week, because they're going to have a hard fight.
I definitely plan on coming back next week and hopefully being able to give roughly the same kind of performance that I did this week. Because there's still 4 more matches in the Swiss rounds. I am not by any means giving up yet.
Sounds good. We're looking forward to it. Again, beautifully run. Looking forward to your next match next week. Yeah, do you have any final thoughts about the seed before we get ready to close out the restream tonight?
Honestly, this seed, if you just did the early checks, it gave you everything. So I honestly don't know if I'll be able to pull a time better than this in any seed that I get.
Well, with how some of these seeds are, I don't think that's anything to feel bad about. Some of them, they're not going to let anyone come in under, the 90 minute, the hour 45 even on some of them. So enjoy it, enjoy the flags, enjoy playing them, and yeah, we look forward to seeing you back soon.
Yep, I look forward to it, and thanks to everyone on the event team for putting this together.
Thanks so much, and GG's.
All right, Twitch chat. We're working on a couple things here in the Restream booth. Just so you know, there's not going to be a raid because, again, there is another race right here on this channel about 20 minutes from now. Well, 30, given stream delay, of course. And our Restream team is working out whether to do a handoff or to just cut stream and come back. But I see no reason for me to keep talking, so it's been a blast. Allie, love working with you. Shout out to the runners and the restreamers. Allie, any final thoughts before we hit our mute buttons and let y'all work this out?
Yeah, just stick around here. We're going to have another great race, and today was the first day of the tournament. We are just going to keep on having races. Keep an eye out here, Free Enterprise 2, even maybe Free Enterprise 3, maybe even RPG Limit Break. Just keep your eyes out, watch the Discord. Yeah, and thanks so much to my co-coms, thanks so much to the team, and we're going to play you some music while we get things sorted. Thanks and have a great night.
Good night, everybody.